The silent parade in the alley. The alley behind my apartment is usually empty, but tonight, something moves. Shadows shift in perfect formation, pacing silently, as if the street itself breathes and anticipates my next step. Step closer, flashlight trembling. The fog clings to the walls, curling around dumpsters and cracked pavement. It's thick enough to swallow sound and blur shapes at the far end. A single figure appears, hooded, pale gloves visible, no face. It tilts its head slowly, watching me with an intensity that makes my chest tighten unnaturally. Another figure glides silently from the shadows, identical stance, arms folded, motionless, yet alive somehow. A third joins them, spacing perfect, formation precise. They do not speak, they do not blink. They exist only to observe. The distant hum of the city fades. Even the traffic feels muted, swallowed by the fog and the presence of these moving statues. I try to back away. Feet scrape against the wet pavement. The figures follow, perfectly synchronized, though no sound meets my ears. The nearest figure lifts a gloved hand, slowly, deliberately. Another mirrors it, its movement choreographed, impossible, calculated. I stumble over a crack in the alley, heart racing. Breaths sharp in my ears. The formation does not pause, only advances. Shadows stretch unnaturally along walls. The figures glide closer, elongating, bending the edges of light around them. Faint scraping sound comes from behind a dumpster. Nothing visible. Fog swirls, unnaturally. Shapes move where none should exist. I try to shine the flashlight ahead. The figures are closer than before, yet still at the edge of the beam, waiting, patient. Another figure emerges from the darkness, joining silently, spacing perfect. Dozens now, gliding in formation, wrapping the alley like living ink. A single flicker of movement catches my eye. Symbols appear on walls in chalk, drawn silently, glowing faintly as if marking the path. I step back. One figure tilts its head toward me, slow, deliberate, acknowledging my presence. My legs feel heavy, glued to the wet concrete. I try to speak. No words form. The fog swirls, whispering something incomprehensible, carrying threats I can feel, but not understand. Another figure glides between streetlights, shadows bending around it unnaturally, stretching toward the others. The formation shifts as if sensing my fear. I run. My footsteps echo in the narrow space, but they match my pace perfectly. The figures move in lockstep with me. The alley narrows. Trash cans, dumpsters, and broken crates create a corridor. Figures glide silently, filling every space. I glance behind, a wall of shadows, hooded shapes, faceless, advancing, endless. A faint chalk symbol glows beneath a dumpster. The shapes bend slightly over it, pausing, ritualistic, deliberate. I try to turn. The alley twists, unnaturally. My path is blocked. Fog thickens. Figures glide silently around me, forming a circle. A scraping sound along the bricks. Chalk marks appear on walls, drawing arrows toward the center of the alley. I can't move. My body refuses. Heart racing, chest tight, breath shallow. Figures advance, perfectly synchronized. One figure steps closer, palm presses toward the ground. Chalk dust swirls, forming a symbol directly beneath me. The formation tightens. Shadows stretch unnaturally. The alley becomes smaller, narrower, impossibly long. A whisper drifts through the fog. It's incomprehensible, but commanding. My knees buckle. Figures close in, circling me. The symbols glow faintly, illuminating only their pale gloved hands and the twisted fog around us. I feel the pull. Something unseen drags me toward the center of the circle. I scream. No sound escapes, and then they vanish. The alley is empty, silent, normal. Chalk symbols remain faintly on the walls, glowing just enough to remind me they will return. The neon crossings that shouldn't exist. The intersection by the old key factory glows at night with neon lights that weren't there before. Everyone avoids it, but I was drawn, curiosity pulling me closer against better judgment. Fog hung low, curling along cracked asphalt. The neon reflected off puddles, distorted, pulsing faintly, almost breathing. Something about the air felt wrong, heavy, unnatural. A figure appeared beneath the flickering lights, hooded, pale gloves, utterly motionless, watching me as if waiting for me to step closer. Another figure emerged, identical, matching the first stance. Silent, arms folded, no face visible under the neon glow. I froze in place, heart hammering. The figures did not move, yet the air seemed to shift around them. A low hum began, mechanical, almost alive. Vibrations traveled through the asphalt beneath my feet. I tried to back away, but my legs felt heavier than usual. The neon seemed to pulse in rhythm with my heartbeat. Another figure appeared across the intersection, gliding slowly, silently. Formation expanding, stretching across the glowing streets. Akatos warped around the lights, stretching unnaturally along walls, puddles, and cracked pavement. I noticed markings in the neon glow, faint symbols etched into the air, floating like chalk dust, impossible to reach. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Next marked. My hands shook. The glow reflected on the screen, illuminating the pale gloves of the nearest figure. A scraping sound echoed from a nearby manhole. Steam hissed up. Figures shifted subtly, watching, synchronized. I tried to step backward as the neon lights flared brighter, casting long, impossible shadows toward me. Stanir's figure raised an arm, slowly, deliberately. The others mirrored it instantly, synchronization perfect. I stumbled against the curb, heart racing, breath short. The air vibrated, humming faintly around the figures. Another figure appeared at the far edge of the intersection, its formation now complete. Silent, hooded, glowing gloves. Tria. The fog thickened. Neon reflections scattered across walls. Tria shapes moved where none should exist. Spira. I realized the figures were circling me, closing the glowing intersection, bending the light unnaturally around their forms. I tried to turn, but the street twisted, distorted. Fog made it impossible to tell where the next step would land. Symbols in neon glowed faintly on asphalt. Circles, lines, marks I couldn't comprehend. I tried to shout. No sound escaped, only the humming air. Figures moved closer, synchronized, fluid, impossibly fast, but silent. The symbols beneath my feet pulsed faintly. Air seemed charged, heavy, pressing me toward the center. I felt the pull, something unseen dragging me forward, toward the intersection's glowing center. I stumbled, almost falling. The figures were closer, its formation tightening, its shadows stretching unnaturally. A faint chant carried through the neon-lit fog, low, rhythmic, commanding, incomprehensible, penetrating my skull. I tried to move sideways, escape the circle, but the street bent impossibly, enclosing me. A final figure appeared directly in front. Hood down slightly, hands gloved, chalk faintly visible. Eyes glowing impossibly bright. I screamed, body frozen. Fog swirled around us, Neon symbols pulsed, and then they vanished. The intersection was empty. Silent, neon lights flickered normally, no longer impossible, no longer alive. I stumbled home, heart still pounding, breath short. Chalk marks faintly visible on asphalt where I had stood. And I knew the neon crossings would return, waiting, watching. The eyes that follow from the roof. The building across the street is abandoned. But every night at 2:37 a.m., someone or something appears on the roof, watching. I never believed it until I saw the glowing eyes. Leaned out my window, flashlight trembling. Fog hugged the rooftop edges like dark water, swirling unnaturally, distorting the outline of figures crouched silently above. One pair of glowing eyes turned toward me, unblinking, predatory, watching every movement. My stomach clenched in sudden nausea and dread. Another pair appeared, then another, shapes crouched along the roof's edge, identical in posture, hooded, faces hidden. I tried to blink, to convince myself it was a reflection. The eyes didn't flicker. Taste, observing, waiting. A scraping sound traveled down the fire escape. Metal against rusted metal. My heart nearly stopped. I leaned closer, trembling. The fog shifted. Shadows moved along the roof, stretching toward the edges, as if testing gravity. Another pair of eyes appeared near the corner. They glowed faintly, orange-white, reflecting in the streetlight below. I felt pressure in the room, like the air itself weighed on my shoulders. The first figure stood slowly, motion deliberate. Hood shadowed, hands empty, yet threatening. I grabbed my phone, screen flickered, no signal. The rooftop figures remained, motionless, synchronized. I stepped back from the window, another scraping sound. My apartment door rattled softly, though no wind existed. The figures shifted slightly, synchronized, deliberate. Each movement mirrored the other, like dancers in a ritual I could not comprehend. A low hiss came from the roof, faint, almost imperceptible. My chest tightened instantly. I backed away. My flashlight flickered, cutting off briefly. When it returned, more eyes had appeared along the roofline. The building's structure groaned. Shadows elongated unnaturally. One figure leaned forward, head tilting slowly toward me. I tried to speak. Nothing emerged. Only the whispering wind, carrying words I couldn't understand. I stumbled into the living room, keeping the light on the rooftop. Fog swirled unnaturally, distorting their forms further. A sudden sound from the roof. Footsteps, light, precise, deliberate, not scattered. Another figure stepped forward, hooded eyes, glowing, attains extended slightly, chalk dust clinging faintly. I pressed against the wall. The figures moved forward slowly, tation perfect, silent, watching. A flash of movement startled me. Chalk marks appeared along the edge of the rooftop railing, symbols, unfamiliar, glowing faintly. I realized with terror they were marking the building, claiming it, preparing something. The wind carried a low chant, incomprehensible, rhythmic, surrounding me, penetrating walls. I tried to run to the door. My legs refused. Fear immobilized me completely. A figure crouched over the edge of the roof, looking directly at me, palm extended, chalk dust glinting faintly. Formation tightened. Figures moved closer to the edge. Shadows stretched unnaturally downward, toward my apartment. A sudden vibration ran through the building. The air itself seemed alive. Tana, I fell to the floor. The eyes remained fixed, watching, waiting. Then, in an instant, they vanished. The rooftop was empty. Fog lifted slightly. Silence returned. I checked the street. Normal. No sound. No motion. But the chalk marks on the roof glowed faintly. Impossible to ignore. Cohened. And I knew, tonight or the next, the eyes would return. Watching. Waiting. The shadow in the parking garage. The underground garage is empty after midnight. Everyone says shadows move there when no one is around. But I never believed it until I parked my car alone and looked up. A figure appeared at the far end, standing perfectly still, arms at its sides. Fluorescent lights flickered as if acknowledging its presence, casting long, distorted shadows along the concrete floor. It froze, its head tilted slowly. Not human, but not fully inhuman either. Its posture was deliberate, patient, and it radiated something I could feel pressing against my chest. The echoes of my own footsteps felt wrong. They bounced off the walls, but the figure remained silent, unmoving, watching. Each step I took seemed to awaken the space around it. I reached the elevator and tried to press the button. T. My hands trembled violently. The figure did not move, but its shadow stretched closer toward me with unnatural speed. I decided to back toward the exit. The overhead lights flickered again. For a brief moment, I thought I saw more figures along the garage perimeter, forming slowly out of shadows. The air felt thick, sticky. My breath came in short bursts. Concrete pillars seemed to bend, elongate. Every noise echoed too sharply, unnaturally. Something was waiting for me to panic. I moved faster, keeping the flashlight beam on the figure. Its face remained hidden in darkness. The shadow beneath it grew longer, stretching toward me, creeping along the floor like liquid black smoke. I stumbled over a parking curb. The figure did not flinch, but the shadows reacted, twisting upward, forming shapes that hovered in the peripheral of my vision. A sudden scraping sound came from the back corner. My flashlight swung toward it, but nothing was there. Only the faint glow of another shadow slowly approaching. I pressed myself against a concrete wall, trying to stay out of its line of sight. My heart pounded. The shadow moved again, closer, though no feet or body were visible. I tried to call someone. My phone's screen glowed, but no signal. The shadow seemed to lean closer, feeding off my panic, waiting for me to make a mistake. Another figure appeared near the stairwell, not fully formed, like smoke or mist shaped into a human silhouette. Its presence made the air feel electric, charged, threatening. I ran toward my car. The shadow moved perfectly alongside me, matching every step. My tires squealed against the concrete. No one was there, yet I could feel the weight. The elevator doors opened suddenly, empty. I considered hiding there, but the shadow leaned forward, the blackness spreading along the floor in arcs toward me. I sprinted up the stairs. At the top, the lights flickered off completely. Darkness swallowed the stairwell. My chest burned. My legs trembled. I couldn't stop running. I reached the exit. The figure stood at the mouth of the garage, completely still, its shadow pooling outward, reaching like ink across the concrete toward the street beyond. I stumbled outside. Moonlight flooded the parking lot. The shadow did not follow. The figure was gone. I collapsed against my car, panting, hands shaking, unable to move for minutes. I glanced back at the garage. The fluorescent lights buzzed softly. Nothing moved. The shadows were gone. Its normal concrete pillars stood in place, silent, empty. My hands were still trembling. I unlocked the car door slowly, convinced the figure could appear again at any moment. Every reflective surface made me flinch. As I drove home, I glanced in the rearview mirror. The garage entrance was empty, silent, but I felt it watching. waiting for the next person to arrive alone. The stories are true. The shadow waits in the parking garage, patient, silent. And anyone who thinks they are alone may never leave without noticing its gaze.